It is Wednesday, the 28th of May. Hello, kia ora, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining me. Well, we've got a lot of energy out in the Tasman Sea at the moment. Check out the lightning loop, thanks to Weather Zone, over the past 6 hours, going through the early hours of this morning and just a couple of hours after sunrise. Plenty of thunderstorms out at sea, but they're not one big wall of thunderstorms. They are sort of individual clusters as particular showers and downpours track on through behind the cold front, which is basically in the middle of the Tasman Sea by the time we get to this evening. So thunderstorms are out at sea, that's normal. A lot of energy out there to fuel them. They change shape as they move into New Zealand, so it won't look the same as that. But basically you get the idea. There's a bit of energy out there, and if you don't have a thunderstorm, you still might get a heavy downpour as this comes on through over the next couple of days. Here is the same lightning, but it's also got the infrared satellite map over it. The bright yellow and orange area, that is a lot of high cloud in there as well. It's not all rain. But there is a fair bit of rain coming through to the western and northern parts of the South Island. And the same for the North Island. The northern and western sides have the highest chance of rainfall. It's not going to be huge for everyone, but because of this squally nature of these downpours coming in behind it and the energy there, some rainfall totals may go above and beyond what is forecast for you. That's why yesterday's headline was expect the unexpected, because sometimes with setups like this, the weather's not that bad and then you get hit by one of these downpours and suddenly everything changes. Here is the situation for this evening. Yesterday, someone asked me on YouTube, what is causing the thunderstorms? Well, it's a classic mix of low pressure and warm and cold airflows being mixed together. So you've got the warm subtropical airflow coming down across the country. That's why it's warmer than usual at the moment. We're not seeing big frosts or snow or anything like that. On the other side, around Australia, where they have had some snow, there is that big southerly, and it's where the two mix together. That's where you get those thundery downpours, especially further up around the northern Tasman Sea, where we're seeing a lot of those thundery conditions move through over the next day, and that will clip, more than likely, the top of the North Island. There's some windy weather also coming through. Depends on where you are, though. Around New Zealand, our mountains and ranges help to break that all up. Let's have a look at the thunderstorm risk. So this is where we are 6 o'clock this evening. Look, the yellow area in general is sort of where the chance of thunderstorms or heavy downpours are possible. You don't always have to have a thunderstorm with it. Sometimes the cloud builds up, but you don't get the flash of lightning and the boom of thunder, but you still get the very heavy rain. And so you've got orange areas where thunderstorms are more likely, and then the red zones, which are sort of inside those orange areas, where a severe thunderstorm is possible. So let's animate this. It's very similar to yesterday. Don't pay too much attention to specifically where those orange blobs are, because they're going to move around a bit. But you do see them coming down over the top of the North Island as we go through Thursday. By Friday, it clears up for a time, and then that southerly change comes into the south here, and that may also produce some downpours, maybe a couple of thunderstorms as well as that moves through. Might even be a bit of hail in there. So it's not necessarily everyone's getting this, but you can see the instability that it's on its way. Here is the 7-day expected rainfall brought to you by resupply.co.nz. In the orange boxes, these are the areas that are perhaps most likely to see the highest rainfall totals overall. And in the white boxes, these are the areas with the lowest rainfall totals. So it's a classic west to east movement where most of the rain pulls up against the western side of the ranges around the country. Now, there may also be heavier falls around Taranaki, and we can't rule out the chance of much heavier downpours over the top of the North Island because of those thundery conditions that are moving through, and that can break rain maps like this one. All right, let's get into the forecast properly. The 6 o'clock tonight setup. So here is the main low pressure zone. Most of those thunderstorms are out here to the north of the Tasman Sea, but there could be a few lining up as well with this front as it comes on in. Heavier rain and downpours also around the Eastern Bay of Plenty, pushing down to maybe some parts of Central Plateau, but it's mostly around Whakatane eastwards. And the wind flow, it's a little windy in some spots. You can see the isobars squeezing up Taranaki to Central Plateau. There could be some windy conditions here and there, but generally speaking, it looks a lot worse than it is from a wind perspective. On Thursday, a little windy around the North Island with the nor'wester blowing through. Now that could be brisk and exposed areas. And you've got those thundery downpours between the centre of the low and where that nor'west flow is. So this is sort of like the right-hand side of the low pressure area. That's where we're going to be seeing heavy falls in the mix. They may just be showers. It may not be a band of rain, but it's a messy setup, put it that way, on Thursday as that moves through. And then at the other end of the country, there's the southerly flick coming through with a few showers in there. On by the evening time, that southerly system moving away from the South Island for the most part, still a couple of showers down here, but nothing too much. The main low moving into the North Island, and it's all of these sort of darker blue and green areas that could be seeing those heavy falls and maybe some thunderstorms as that comes through overnight tomorrow evening and overnight tomorrow night. And then behind all of that, all those southerlies. So we jump to lunchtime Friday, and that's that area that we talked about on the very south of the South Island, from the Catlins to Otago Peninsula, Dunedin, and possibly up to Banks Peninsula and some parts of Canterbury. As that cold southerly comes in, might be some thundery falls with it, maybe some hail in the mix. This is cold air coming in to Southland, Fiordland, Otago, Southwestland, and over towards some parts of Canterbury, and a very windy sou'wester elsewhere in many places, especially in Auckland, where we do expect gale force sou'westers at times, especially with those showers. Could get some lulls between the showers where it's sunny and not too bad. And windy also around central parts of the country. So quite a lot going on thanks to the storm down here south of New Zealand, and the next big high south of Adelaide. So going into the weekend, that big high from the South Australia area starts to drift further towards New Zealand, stretches all the way out to the north of us, gets very close to Tonga and New Caledonia, stretches up close to Darwin, and all the way back to Western Australia and down to Tasmania. So that is a really big block of high pressure. We may not notice it too much in New Zealand on Saturday. There will still be showers on the west coast and windy nor'westers through Cook Strait and Wellington, and windy through the Southern Alps. Could be gale force conditions there. The cold retreats a little further on Saturday, and by Sunday kind of still stays in the same spot for the lower South Island, for Southland and parts of Otago. But elsewhere, those southwest winds just carry on with showers on the western side of New Zealand, driest weather along the eastern side. We go into next week, King's Birthday Monday. Not a great deal of change, except in the south of the South Island, westerlies are now blowing through. So the blue line that's measuring air thickness drops further southwards and means that the cold stuff is now down kind of where it should be. And we're getting a milder airflow out of Australia for the lower South Island. Still got sou'westers for the top of New Zealand, still got those showers. So some areas are going to have a kind of a windy, showery, autumn-like weekend, although we're going into winter, so a wintry-like weekend, but it's not going to be too brutal. By the time we get to Monday, those showers are a little annoying. The wind might be a little strong, though, in the lower South Island. Our final map for Tuesday of next week, high pressure to the northeast of New Zealand, low pressure again forming in the Tasman, and this airflow coming from Tonga and Fiji and New Caledonia is drifting down over parts of New Zealand. So we warm back up again by Tuesday of next week, just in time to go back to work. And the next cold change, moving into Tasmania. So we've got unsettled weather coming through. As you would expect, next week is the start of winter on the meteorological calendar. So usually this is our most unsettled couple of months of weather on the way. That's all from me for today. We'll be back again tomorrow with more details on the thundery downpours and how the long weekend is shaping up. We'll see you on Thursday.